I'm excited to bring on our next guest. She covers the Chargers, the Clippers, knows all things Southern California sports, doing great work for CBS Los Angeles and Sports Central. My dear friend Jaime Maggio joining the show, making us a little smarter today. How are you, Jaime?
I don't know about that. That's a big build-up, Ben. How you doing this morning? I'm good.
Doing well. You know, it's funny when I think of the teams out there that could really challenge the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's a short list, and some of them play here in Los Angeles. Should the Chargers be on that list?
I think they should absolutely be on that list. Yeah, I mean, you look at last season, I think that 7-9 record is not indicative of, what that team is comprised of. And obviously Justin Herbert had such an incredible year. It's only the upside is huge for this kid. Obviously he's got a new coach this year. He's got a new offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, coming over from the Saints. So that's a lot of adjustments to make. But when you look at what he did last year and the pandemic and not having that off-season program implemented last year because of COVID, all the extra work that he's going to be able to do this year to prepare, I think it's huge. And, one of the knocks on him coming out of school was, he's kind of this quiet leader, but I can tell you he's got the pulse of the locker room already. And I'm sure you saw that Drew Brees was out here back over the summer during, we are in the summer, aren't we? Back in May, it was minicamp, and he was sitting through quarterbacks meetings with Justin, having conversations. Of course, you know that Drew Brees started his career with the Chargers, so he spent a few years before he went on to New Orleans. So that, he's between Joe Lombardi, Drew Brees, I think he's soaking it all up, and I think he's going to be in a good position for this coming season. Definitely going to be better than 7-9 that they saw last year.
I don't know, Jaime, if you're a Ted Lasso fan, but season 2 is coming out now on Apple.
I love Ted Lasso.
And I've noticed often throughout the years, you think of like the Chappelle Show, the energy between season 1 and season 2. When you know the whole world is watching, when you know that you're a hit, what you've done has worked, and now you got to go out there and do it again, it raises the stakes. That's what we're seeing now for Justin Herbert in year 2. He's in his season 2 of his hit TV show. Now he's got to go out there and become iconic. What have you seen from him?
I like the comparison, but I don't buy into that. I don't think you think this kid's going to crumble with the pressure. Look at what he did last year. He had no idea that he was going to be starting, for the season. He came in, what was it, week 2 when Taylor got injured, which was horrible. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think there's pressure, and let's not forget that they've got Derwin James. I think that's another huge piece for the Chargers entering this season, coming back from injury. 2018 rookie, All-Pro, went to the Pro Bowl. He's missed the better part of the last 2 seasons, but if they can stay healthy, and of course Brandon Staley, defensive coordinator for the Rams last year, they had the number 1 defense last year. I think both the offense and the defense are going to be looking really good for the Chargers this year. It'll be special teams. That's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, I also think, too, on the defensive side of the ball, you got Bosa leading the charge, but also you got Patrick Mahomes twice in the division. And, you're going to have to go out there and get one of those wins or at least show that you can hold your own with the Chiefs or some of these high-octane offenses out west. So on the defensive side of things, you feel confident that this group's ready to go for the upcoming season?
I do, especially with Staley as the new head coach and, Derwin James and Joey Bosa, like they haven't even gotten to play that much together, over the last couple of years. So I think, again, it always comes down to health, right? If you can keep the roster healthy, you know what you're dealing with. And I think that they're in a really good position. And by the way, like Mahomes and Justin Herbert, how fun is that going to be to watch in the next, 5 to 10 years?
Jaime Maggio joins the show, CBS Los Angeles, Sports Central. You also cover the Clippers out here in LA, and you're talking about health. Everybody talking about Kawhi and what's going on with the Terminator and what's happening with Kawhi, the Claw. What are you hearing? What do you make of this, Jaime? You've covered sports for a long time. An athlete of his demeanor and the way he's behaved over the last few weeks.
I think this is, teams keep injuries, especially to their star players, under wraps as best they can. So to hear about an ACL sprain that then is, partially torn, I wasn't totally surprised when we got that news. Kawhi does have that player option for next season. I hope he comes back to the Clippers. I think, as of right now, Vegas odds say that he will. But I'm hoping that Kawhi sat there and watched the team play the way that they did and get as close to the finals as they did and realize that it is a team worth coming back to. And in terms of the way that Kawhi's behaved, I mean, it's just who he is. And, he doesn't make for the most exciting interviews, and as a sideline reporter, as a member of the media, I'd love to see a little bit more spark, but I can appreciate the way that he approaches the game. And, he's all business. And he's a damn good player, so I'm all right with it.
Yeah, he really is the Tommy Lee Jones of the post-game press conference. You ever try interviewing Tommy Lee Jones?
I haven't, but maybe you have.
Yeah, I have over the years. And like I said, you get anything out of Tommy Lee Jones at a Men in Black press conference, you're doing your job. Ben Lyons on for Rich. It's the Rich Eisen Show. And let's also talk about the other Clippers star, Jamie, and Paul George, who has seemed to exercise some of the playoff demons that have haunted him, some of the vitriol that he's the recipient of. He was able to sort of put that aside and have a terrific postseason, all things considering. What's been your experience like covering Paul George, and how do you see his time in LA moving forward?
Yeah, I'm happy. Playoff P. He shook off some demons, and you know what? I mean, listen, Ben. I appreciated his honesty and his candor when talking about, the difficulties of being in the bubble, because I think that's real. And I think sometimes we elevate athletes to unbelievably, not realistic standards. And this has been a challenging year and a half. And, it's with the pandemic and all of the restrictions and the adjustments we've all had to make in our daily lives. And I thought that I appreciated how honest he was about that. And I think it's important to be honest about things like that. I am glad in a sense that Paul had a chance to play without Kawhi. I mean, I wish that Kawhi was healthy, because I really do believe that the Clippers would have been in the finals, and I think they would have had a very good chance against the Bucks. But I'm glad that Paul, given the circumstances, had the opportunity to kind of carry the team, and he did. And I think that I never really understood the vitriol and the attacking. I don't know why that happens. I don't know if that's this social media culture of people bullying. It's bizarre and kind of sad. So I was happy for PG to shake that off and to shine the way that he did, because he deserves it. He's nothing but a joy and a professional to be around. His teammates like him. Reggie Jackson loves him. So I'm hoping that their relationship alone is the reason for Reggie to come back. I hope that's one of the question marks the Clippers can answer for next year's roster, bringing Reggie back, and Batum.
Jaime Maggio joins the show, CBS LA, Bally Sports West, and like me is an East Coast transplant out here on the West Coast.
Uh-oh.
No, you said uh-oh. Well, I wanted to ask you your thoughts just on the Southern California sports scene in general, because in addition to covering the Chargers and the Clippers, you do great human interest stories for CBS LA, great local high school stories. So just coming out here from the East Coast, now having a real sense of what the vibe is here in Southern California, what have been some of your favorite sort of human interest or slice of life stories in the sports space out here?
There's just so many, Ben, and you know as well as I do. Some of the best stories are with the people that are not covered in the press. It is the high school stories, or it's the local person at the gym. I'm doing a story coming up on a guy in Pasadena whose sister committed suicide, and he's running 100 miles in her honor and raising awareness and raising money and keeping her memory alive. And those are the stories that I think are so amazing. Recently, Jesse Billauer, Life Rolls On.
Mm-hmm.
He was just nominated for an ESPY for disabled male athlete. I just interviewed him last week and spoke to his father. And, what he has done for adaptive surfing is incredible. Here he was on the verge of going pro at 17 years old. He suffers a spinal injury. He can't surf anymore, bound to a wheelchair. But he uses a positive mental attitude to continue to live and to continue to do the things that he loves to do. So he creates these surfboards that allow people with disabilities to get out on the water and to still experience the rush of riding a wave. And I think that's incredible. He has events all over the country. Obviously, that was, derailed a bit with COVID and all that. But, this has been going on for years that he does this. So I think just everyday people that rise up and better themselves and the people around them and the people that need help, I think that's certainly commendable.
Well said, Jamie. And I want to leave you with this one. What I love about going to Dodger Stadium is that you get a real cross-section of just the landscape of Los Angeles. You get people from all over the city, all walks of life. In pre-pandemic times, we're drawing $4 million a year. I love going to Dodger games. Well, last night, Kenley Jansen blows another save, and this team has me all over the place. They're scoring 22 runs one day, and Will Smith's hitting walk-off home runs, and then they're giving up leads in the ninth, and I feel like a yo-yo with my emotions here following the Dodgers this summer.
Ben Lyons, would you boo Kenley Jansen? That's my question.
Would I boo Kenley Jansen? No, but I might go tell him to read a Harry Potter book.
Wait a second. What? Am I not getting a joke?
No, that's just how I would say, go read Order of the Phoenix.
Oh, is that how you talk trash?
Yeah. Expelliarmus. What's your sorting house? Just to kind of, because they're not hearing that from anywhere else. Boo, you stink. They get that every night. But how good's your Quidditch game? They're like, who is this guy? So that's my strategy.
By the way, I like your style, Ben. I grew up a Yankees fan, and Derek Jeter, one of my all-time favorite players, if not the favorite, is Chris Brockman is barfing at wherever he is right now.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy at the moment.
Derek Jeter, towards the end of his career, certainly declined, but you think anyone would ever boo him? And I'm not saying Kenley Jansen is Derek Jeter, okay? I'm not saying that. But he's been with your franchise. He's given so much, and for the fans to boo him, it literally makes me cringe. I just think it's just poor treatment, and I think that the fans have to knock that off. Kenley is a heck of a player. He's obviously got an incredible personal story and what he's overcome with his health issues and whatnot. And I think, does he have what he used to have? No. Is he your lockdown closer? No. But for fans to boo him, it's terrible. But back to your original point, Dodger Stadium is a beautiful place.
Despite the $18 beer night that seems to be every home game now. We appreciate you taking some time, Jamie. Hope to see you in the real world soon.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Have a great day.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.